Let me make a response to that, gentleman, if I can. Can I make a short response?
Excuse me.
If you look at the history of the civil
Let
rights
him make a
movement...
point, and I'll get right back to you, Jared. Go ahead, Ed.
The point that I made, the 90% figure, was that prisoners in New York City jails, 90% of them are men who did not have fathers. That was the 90% figure I made to you. Now, this lady will confirm this, but I believe in the United States today, about 55 to 60% of the prisoners in federal prisons and local jails are black. But to return to, what I think is a more important issue.
Wait, say that again?
Well,
They don't have the money to get the lawyers that could get them off, like white people with money and power.
Erlina?
Not only that, but the likelihood of a white cop arresting a white person for doing the same thing a black person is incredibly skewed against the black. It starts with the arrest, it goes through prosecution, there is racism, and it does have an effect.
Erlina?
I'm in court myself, and some of the things that I hear from the white judges that I have to stand before are, I bet you won't mind anybody else's business, although they give you permission. Okay? I hear things like...
a judge said that to you?
Oh, yes. My trial judge, the one who actually ended my trial on June the 4th, said this to me. My trial was supposed to be dismissed. I'm still in appeals for for one of the charges, which was interfering in government administration, which doesn't make sense when I was given permission from the police to assist them. Okay, his thing is, I bet you won't mind anybody else's business. Oh, but I will when it comes to my black children, whether they're from my stomach or their stomach. Okay, the second thing is, I've stood up and I've been threatened by a judge to take me to jail and call BCW on my kids if I don't come in and pay him money. Like, I'm putting it into his pocket.
Pay him money for what?
Pay him money for, oh, they charged me with a fine, which I'm in appeal, so I should have a stay of appeal.
Let me get Melinda here quickly. Melinda?
Let me throw in something. It's a fax from Sean in Brooklyn. He says, Brother Prophet should move next door to Mark Furman and form his separatist state. Meanwhile, the rest of us will learn to live together and improve America.
We can address it as soon as we come back. When we return, you're going to hear from a man who says the media has some blame for this relationship between blacks and whites. Folks, stay with us.
Relationships, making them last. Perhaps some other time.
I want to know more about the best way to keep fit.
Oh, that's another commercial.
I want to know more about Rogaine.
Rogaine with minoxidil?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, just call this number now for a free information kit on Rogaine topical solution. It could help answer your questions because it's filled with all kinds of facts about Rogaine. And because you need a prescription for Rogaine, we'll send you a list of local doctors and special money-saving offers to help you find out if Rogaine's right for you.
But I want to know right now.
We'll mail it to you today. So what are you waiting for? Call now for your free information kit. Call 1-800-255-1116.
Join these News Talk hosts for discussions on the news issues most important to you. Today's news, today's talk, only on News Talk Television.
Voices of News Talk from the week of October 9th.
Every day, though, the people who love him and the people who hate him only feel stronger. And as he goes on, I think he's going to have more difficulty repairing his image.
I have one brother that was killed in Vietnam. He was gay. I do know people who enjoy hating people because they're different than they are.
Are we going to have to live like they do in Israel, where at every supermarket they check packages? No. We're a huge country with enormous numbers of airports, bus terminals, trains. It's not a country that you can protect.
There are escalating patterns to both frequency and intensity of abuse. It's that red flag that has not been fully recognized and addressed.
The black man has been destroyed in this society. To build the new prisons and not jobs and opportunities, and everyone's saying that the black man should do something for himself. So we're going to use this day to do just that.
Be part of our live studio audience. Write for free tickets to News Talk Television, 303 West 34th Street, New York, New York 10001. Or call us at area code 212-643-4744. That number again, area code 212-643-4744.
divided are we as a nation? That's what we're talking about. Are we still separate and unequal, as the Kerner Commission said in 1968? I want to get Brother Prophet to respond to the facts that said, in essence, you should move next door to a Mark Verman, he's in Idaho, and take up residence. What do you say? And while the rest of us try to get along, what do you say to that, Brother Prophet?
I'm not going to dignify that foolishness with my time and response. But let me address something else. The jail system. We mentioned these numbers about the brothers. 60% of us are in prison. No. That's not by mistake.
No. Because prisoners are black. 60%. Not the same thing.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. 60% of the prisoners are black. That's not by mistake, but by design. Because it is profitable to lock up people. And if you want to annihilate a group of people, lock them down. They did that when they had the concentration camps, when the Japanese came over. When you want to annihilate a group of people, you lock them down. They bring them back to chain gang, for those who don't know. So now, the work that needs to be done in the city roads and on the bridges will be done by who? Black prisoners. So now they cut back on costs. So in every major city, and Jesse Jackson points this out, every major city, there are 2 buildings being built, a ballpark and a prison. Right. They want to lock us up before they give us an opportunity for an education. Because it is profitable to lock up young black men.
Look,
and let me
about $30,000 a year to keep a man in jail.
First of all, let's start with the contractor.
Wait a second.
I don't know any contract company that say I'll build prisons for free. I don't know any toilet tissue companies that say I will give you that for free. I don't know any food franchises.
The bottom line is what, though?
The bottom line is that it is profitable to lock. As a matter of fact, you can buy.
Now, wait, Jared. Let me ask Jared something. Are we in the business of prisons in this country?
Let me finish.
Wait, hold on.
The idea that somehow the economy benefits from locking people up and spending money on keeping them in jail.
Wait a minute. If you build a prison, you spend money.
You could build factories, you could build schools, you could build highways, you could build roads. The idea that
now let me make an observation. Let me make an observation.
This is complete paranoid fantasy.
Listen, what's your name again?
Jared Taylor.
Listen, Mr. Taylor, let me explain something to you. This picture is deeper and greater and bigger than just the dollars and cents that's cost to lock black people up. Since we got here, since we went through what we have gone through, their biggest fear, white people's biggest fear, was that someday black people will rise and do to them what they have done to us.
Very quickly, I've got to get to my next guest.
The plan is genocide. So the plan is to implement the drugs, implement the guns, implement them in prison.
So that we can kill ourselves?
To keep them bonded to the knowledge of, to keep them denied of the knowledge of self. Because listen.
Can you get to the point so I can get to my next guest?
Why do you think? Well, get to your next guest.
Thank you very much. Joining us is Mike Kelly. See, that's working together. Thank you, Brother Prophet. He's author of Color Lines, The Troubled Dreams of Racial Harmony in an American Town. He's also a senior writer for the Bergen Record in New Jersey. Now, Mike says the media contributes to the problem. How does it contribute, Mike?
Well, some of the problem is the conversation we're having right here, which I watched off camera. We're having different conversations here. We're not really talking. The kind of cheering that's going on is more entertainment than, I think, in-depth conversation. And I think the audience ought to think about that. You've had a lot to say, so let me just get in.
I got a whole lot more to say.
I bet you do. My research in the course of in taking a look at a small town in New Jersey, I found that people wanted to get beneath the name-calling and the racial polarization. And this was black and white people. And they wanted to have a conversation about where their lives are really at. They wanted to talk about genuine issues. And what I think is missing in this conversation we're having right here is something I call the ambivalence of race. I think most people, both black and white, are not polarized people. They have many conflicted views about things like crime, and I think we saw some of it come out today, but I don't think we really talked about it. Things like the economy, subjects like education, how do we deal with this? And I think too often when we talk about race in this country, we talk about race purely on the extremes, and we don't get really into the middle ground, which is much more complicated, much grayer, and much more difficult to talk with, but I think it's far more authentic than what we see going on here. And that is where the media contributes to it. Not only my business, a newspaper business, but I also think television as well.